July 2nd, 2017. This might be a long video today. Be a little bit of a tour of things. These are the zucchini that went in a couple weeks ago. They're up and rocking. My friend in the Netherlands, Sten, sent those to me, as well as these beans. These are like a yard-long bean, or I guess in the Netherlands it would be a meter-long bean. I've never grown those before. I've had seeds a couple times and never gotten around to them. So the fact that he sent me the seeds was kind of inspiring to make sure they got in the ground. So thank you, Sten, for the zucchini defenders and the yard-long beans. I forget the exact specific name, variety name. But anyway, so those are rocking. Those, of course, have had full nutritional, hormonal support. And I had a little bit extra of this reflective material left over from the greenhouse. So I thought I would throw up a reflector wall and see if it made any difference. None yet, but it's only been a couple of days. So, I know, that'll be kind of an interesting throw it in and see what happens kind of experiment. Anyway, we had a couple of heavy thunderstorm days yesterday and the day before, and so we got about 1.5 inches of rain over those 2 days. So we got a nice boost of rain. I haven't had to irrigate, and things are growing really well this year. We have finally, when about the end of May, started to get some actual heat. Most of May was kind of cold. But as you can see, these raspberries, or novas, these have also been fed. And actually my friend Chester gave these to me, and they have absolutely exploded. So thanks again for those, Chester. I have enough now I can propagate out to larger patches, which I've already started doing, and maybe I'll show you that in the tour. Anyway, you'll notice that these leaves are quite large. Now, if you've ever seen a raspberry leaf the size of a man's hand before, but you should know I have very large hands. I'll give you a perspective against my hat, or even hold the hat next to the leaf for you. There you go. Just so you have an idea how big these leaves are getting. That's what happens when you feed a plant correctly, with full nutritional and hormonal support, and when the biology is present to process that full nutritional and hormonal support and make it available for plants. Anyway, so those are doing really well. I'm really excited about it. I've been nibbling away at those and making a nice little power shake with 3 eggs and about half the blender full of raspberries and a little bit of cream, or half and half, or milk, depending on what I have available. Yeah, so those are doing great. These are Jerusalem artichokes. I started these 2 years ago from about 7 or 8 little rhizomes, and they're rocking. They've had a few foliar and nutritional boosts occasionally, but not a whole lot. They're pretty prolific all on their own. By the end of the season, these will be about 15 feet tall with big, beautiful yellow flowers. And underneath the ground, they'll provide some nice tubers with some really nice starch and nutritional components in them, and they taste really good too. You can peel them and shave them into a salad fresh, kind of almost like a cucumber in texture, but with like a nutty flavor. Or you can fry them or bake them or whatever. I personally like them fried, like a fried potato, with a little onion, garlic, rosemary, etc. Anyway, so those are rocking. Guess we'll show you some of the plants that were in the greenhouse. I told you a while back that I was going to start these back on full nutritional and hormonal and proper nutrition support, and I have, and I think you can see the results showing up on that already. The lemon tree has exploded and is blooming and getting ready to make some fruit, and I got to do some pruning on the Arctic Frost orange, and the mandarin is coming along pretty well too. The avocados are doing well. The ginger's doing well. Verbenas, these peppers from last year that hurt so long in the greenhouse are starting to come back. See if they turn into anything. What else? Cabbage is doing good. Got a little bit of light bleaching on the aloe, but it seems to be recovering well now. And The jalapenos are rocking. Aaron, you got to get up here. Give you a couple of these. I know you like it spicy. So let's see. Rosemary, French tarragon, Texas tarragon, aka Tagetes lucida, lemon verbena. I got to do some pruning on that still too. These are a couple more lemon trees over here. My olive tree is doing really well. That actually probably needs to be potted up to a larger pot soon. And see, that's getting to be quite a large stem at the base, or quite a large tree at the base. It's actually a tree now, which is pretty satisfying. I guess we'll go take a look at corn and a few other things over on the other side now. Alright, so here we are on the other side. Several plantings of corn in. One more planting of sweet corn to go in. Definitely have some weed management to do over here. But things are coming along well. Been injecting some nutrition for them. Again, complete nutritional and hormonal support. And also I've done some foliar feeds at, on, or before the critical points of influence. There's 3 major windows with corn. Days 9 to 12, days 14 to 21, and days 38 to 42. I won't go into all that, but look it up, maybe check it out. Advancing Eco Agriculture has a whole thing on critical points of influence, and it's definitely well worth watching. Anyway, we got cucumbers down along the side here. Also, another planting. Those are coming in. Those will fill this space in between these. So keep mowing until I can't get through here with the mower anymore, and then the cucumbers will fill that space in. You'll also notice that there's an occasional sunflower mixed in with the corn here. That's to help keep soil and biology and all the symbiotic processes working together. Sunflowers are really good at digging deep roots and changing soil mineral components and all that sort of thing. Anyway, so all that stuff's doing well. Planted a full 100-foot row of thyme and basil in here also. I know it's kind of hard to see, but like that's the thyme right there. It's a broadleaf thyme. So that's every 6 inches all the way down that row. So I'll have a nice bush hedgerow, so to speak, of thyme here in not too distant future. And I did some basil along next to it, mainly because I just didn't know where else I was going to put it. And so I'll probably also plant a few rows of cabbage in between these, and maybe some other stuff too, maybe another bank of cucumbers, etc., etc. The initial first planting of cucumbers is doing really well. They've grown up and filled in really nicely. They're flowering like crazy, and you can even see just how bright, deep, dark yellow those flowers are. These plants are very healthy, very happy. New cucumbers coming on all over the place. Bigger cucumbers on all over the place. And you can see there's another planting that went in the same time as that other row out in the corn. Been really enjoying these in the evening as part of my dinner. Okay, so ran out of tape there. I apologize. Anyway, I was just saying I've been enjoying those cucumbers. So yeah. Anyway, garlic here is doing pretty well. And they need the scapes cut. They should have been cut about a week ago, but I was holding off because I was going to pickle them. And I've just been so busy I haven't had a chance to do it. So I think I'm going to clip those tonight and let them develop some root. Garlic around here, upstate New York, usually comes out around the 20th of July, so we've got about 3 weeks left and then that should be ready. I'm pretty excited to see how big those roots are and how well it did. I know some of them took a hit on the cold we had this year. I didn't get the mulch down as soon as I should have, but the ones that came through are looking pretty good and I'm pretty excited. Potatoes are also doing really well this year. Of course. I did mulch them and give them appropriate nutrition and hormonal support, and they had plenty of moisture this year, both between the rains and the irrigation, and they are really rocking. It's going to be a stellar year for potatoes. And, I got 3,000 square foot of potatoes in. If those yield like the 2 years ago when I had a really good crop of potatoes and did it correctly, I should have about 1,500 pounds of potatoes at the end of the season. Maybe more, we'll see. Anyway, so that's pretty exciting. And tomatoes and peppers are doing pretty well, but I guess we'll translocate down there and let you have a look at them. One more thing before we do that. These are echinacea, or purple coneflower here, right in front of us. And you can see that those are developing lots and lots of flowers also. Of course, they've had the same nutritional and hormonal support, and they're doing really well. And then I did mention before about the raspberries. That's my new propagation plot. There's actually 3 rows there. You just can't see the lower one behind the grass in the foreground there. But those are taking establishment pretty well, and I'll be propagating from there out to bigger raspberry beds probably next spring sometime. Alright, oh, and the apple tree is doing really well also, so we'll hop down to the apple tree and the peppers and tomatoes and let you have a look at them. As you can see, the tomatoes are really taking off now, and it's time for me to come back in here and start adding more supportive infrastructure. We're going to have to go up to at least 5 feet to give them plenty of room, and put in some heavy posts, because at the rate these are accelerating, we're going to have a really heavy fruit load this year, and they're going to need some serious support. But if you look, you can see how thick the stems on these are getting. Let's see. Yeah, you can see that's becoming quite a large stem already. It's already about the size of my finger at the base, and actually even right up near the top it's still about the same size. But anyway, you can see the hairs growing on it. You can see how shiny the leaf is, and actually the one thing I notice when plants are truly healthy is the green color on them almost has kind of a bluish hue to it, and I really love that bluish hue color that they get. Anyway, you can see these peppers are doing well also, despite my my little weed barrier I got to beat out here. But also I want to point out that notice how the mulch has controlled the weeds pretty well. But at this point it is time to add another layer of mulch on to help maintain that advantage until these plants blow up and take out the light space and soil space that the weeds would try to occupy. Guess we'll have a look at these too. There's several different varieties in here, and to be honest, I don't feel like going back and looking through the tags to see what they are. But they're really doing well, and should be a good season. What else? Let's see. We're gonna go to have a look at apple tree. The apple tree has been fed for about 3 years now with full spectrum nutrition and hormones and all that. And this year I put down some, I've been foliar feeding it the last few years, but I actually put down a few drenches for it this year, and it's really blowing up, and it's really darkened in in green, and the apples are really starting to fill out nice now. I wish I had caught it a little earlier in the season, but not necessarily being an orchard guy, sometimes I'm a little slow on the draw on the early season stuff on trees. But you can see this tree is really rocking, and I really do have to go back and dig up some older video or pictures of it, because I think you'll be amazed at the changes in it. Anyway, I think that's all of that. I do want to take you down and show you the blue corn and the pumpkins, and then we'll go have a little talk about managing species and soils and farming related stuff like that. Alright, hope I blew flower corn and Big Mac's pumpkins planted on 6/21/2017. Today is 7/2/2017. The Big Mac's pumpkins were actually started prior to that in seed pots, as I think I discussed in a previous video, but just thought I should mention that. But they are rocking, as you can see. Nice big leaves, nice healthy growth. You can see I've come back and put a nice layer of semi-rotted composty kind of mulch down that my friend Steve gave me. Thank you, Steve. That was excellent stuff. That was a mixture of like grass and a little bit of soil, like fine soil, I think, like dark humic stuff, and a whole bunch of leaves. And so that's working out excellent. The blue corn is up and doing its thing. It actually germinated 6/25, I think. It was like 6 days. It was very quick. I attribute that partially because of the Spectrum and forage foliar feed that I put down for them. I went real heavy on it, and I'm going to stay heavy on it for this season because I know that these blue corn are hungry eaters, and I know how big they can get. I think you'll be amazed how tall some of this stuff gets by the end of the season. But anyway, things doing really well. You can see that my till through in preparation to plant these didn't kill all the buckwheat. I'm perfectly okay with that. I don't care if it spreads in here a little bit, or if it even goes to seed and drops out and reseeds itself in the fall, because it's a great cover crop, and I'm really looking to go more and more toward no-till altogether and work with cover crops instead, because I know how much more beneficial and advantageous that can be. But that said, things are doing really well. I wanted to just give you a little show of how things are doing, and just let you get an eyeball on it. Maybe at the end of the season this year I'll go back and make a quick time-lapse video of it, and you can kind of see the evolution through the season. Anyway, that's that for now. I think we're going to go on and discuss some other things. Actually, I do want to do a comparison on elderberry between ones that were fed full nutritional hormonal support and ones that weren't. So let's do that. Alright, so these elderberry bushes right here, I've had in here for 5 years now, I think. The first year it was this massive bush. It has since gotten a little smaller. Oh, the flies are after me now. Got them. It kind of got crushed down over the winter, and so it took a little bit to recover, but it is doing pretty well. It is a fairly healthy, happy, naturally growing bush here. You can see that's one little branch in flower, and others that are flowered and actually have set fruit and are on their way toward filling and ripening. So this is an awesome example here of a plant that has not been treated with full nutritional and hormonal support. And again, here we are. We don't have uniform flowering and fruiting all in one shot. We have kind of an evolution of stages of it, as the fruit has enough nutrition, or as the plant has enough nutrition to fill the flowers and fruit. It kind of fills them as it goes. So you'll see a little bit of a little less uniformity in ripening on crops that don't have full nutritional and hormonal support. That said, this is a beautiful bush. It does have quite a few elderberry clusters on it, and elderberry is a wonderful medicinal herb and also a very tasty additive to many different dishes and things. I want to point out the diversity in here. As you just look around here, you can see how many different species of plants are in here, and that really helps improve the soil quality. We're actually not too far from that maple forest in the video of a closer look at soils that I did a few weeks ago. So we're in that same deep, rich, sandy loam with a clay pad underneath it soil. And these black caps here, well, black caps are excellent, and we'll be harvesting a bunch of these and making some fruit leather probably tomorrow. Anyway, so those are the elderberries that weren't treated. Now we're going to go over and take a look at some elderberry bushes that I fed full nutritional and hormonal support on, and you'll see a massive difference in the two. Okay, so first from far away, here we have two wonderful specimens. That bush there, and that one there. Alright, we'll go to this bush first and have a look. So here we are. Right away, I'm sure you'll notice that the umbrals, those are the those little flower things with the fruit and flowers developing on them, are much larger. And in fact, let me see if I can pull one down while I hold on to a camera here. Or get to one on the other side, maybe. Ah, yes, here we go. Here's one. So let's just have a look at the umbral size here. Again, I pointed out how big my hands are in relation to my hat before. So now you can see my hand through that flower, and that flower is easily twice the size of my hand. So they're much larger. And you'll notice that it's fairly uniform in development. Some of it has to do with sunlight access here, and also these bushes haven't been worked for a long period of time where I've really built up their reserves and nutrition, but they're well on their way, and I think that is blatantly obvious in the umbral size and the number of flowers set, and in the uniformity. You'll notice there's not like different stages. There's basically flowers that set and have fruit on them, and then another stage from the last feed that I gave them that came out and set a whole new flower set. So these are really rocking this year. We're gonna have a ton of elderberry, and I'm really excited about that. Let's go look at that other bush now. Okay, here we are at this other elderberry. This one I've worked for 2 or 3 years now, I think, and I haven't pruned it. I probably should this fall, because it's getting quite tall. Anyway, you can see very uniform in ripeness. Yeah, there's one flower that popped out late here, but everything else is popped, has fruit on it, and is starting to ripen. And I attribute that faster ripening both to the nutrition, but also to access to sunlight here. This bush gets a little bit more sky time throughout the day than the other bush that has kind of a morning block out on it. Anyway, so that's just kind of a general comparison of the difference between plants with full nutritional and hormonal support and plants without. And as the season goes on, I'll try and get a couple more videos of these as they develop, and I think you'll have a much better concept of just how important it is. Anyway, I think I'll close this video off at this part, and I'll make other videos for the other stuff. With that, I'll say thanks for watching the Farmacy Seeds Network, and we'll see you on the next video. So this is all the seed potatoes for the 2017